Machete. Hi. Ask me a question.
Dan, it's great to see you again. Thanks so much for
man. You
coming.
know what? Hey, this has been great. I'm going to tell you. I just had a great time. I got in from Italy. I got in from Italy on Tuesday. Wednesday, I got home, and then we came here Thursday.
Yeah.
And it's been fun. And you guys really helped me. I got to tell you that, man, because I don't think I could have made it. But I had so much fun. And I got to tell you, man, the women in this state are really gorgeous. Thank you. I can tell you. No, take off your mask.
So Danny's another star, like Matthew before here, that did their first convention appearance with us. Your first convention ever was with us. God, I have to look up what year it was.
Who's Matthew?
2015? I thought it was even before that.
Who's Matthew?
It was 2015? Yeah, we had you over in the Crystal Ballroom.
Yeah,
then.
I remember that. That was cool.
So, and it's been...
Then we're always supposed to have right before the...
Yeah, right.
And then,
Yeah. That was the one we canceled like 2 days before the... But it's been a great pleasure for me to see, just since 2015, how much your career just continues to grow. It's amazing. And one of the things I wanted to remind everybody of, that I had talked to you earlier, I think yesterday about, for those that don't know, I'll let Danny tell the story of how he actually saved a life. You want to tell that?
You know what? God put me in the right place at the right time. And I was driving down the street, and I was watching this lady on her cell phone. You know, I'm looking at her, and she's like on her cell phone, and there's a red light, and I stopped, and I tried to honk to, like, let her know. She had the time. Runs this red light, bam, T-bone this SUV, and it flips over. So, you know, I just got in like in shock, but you just get out. I got out of my car and I went over there, and it surprised me how many people like go around, like, wait, beep, beep, yeah, and there's a car upside there, but they go around. So I tried to open the door, and this lady in front was yelling, "My baby, my baby, my baby." To show you where my ego is. Those were my lines from a movie called Stork. I was Stork, I was yelling, "My baby, my baby, my..." And I thought, oh, you saw that, Lady's upside down bleeding, right? I look in the back, oh, the baby! So I started to try to open the door, but the car was on its top, so the door was crushed, so I couldn't open it. And the window was about this big, so big Mexican dude just comes out of nowhere and says, "Come on, Machete, we can do it." He grabs his door, we both grabbed the door. It was mostly him, I gotta tell you. He ripped this door open, and I just crawled in. And the minute I saw this kid, he was about 5 years old, and you could tell he was special needs. And special needs kids don't like to be grabbed. You know, they just don't like to be held. And so I knew I couldn't grab it, and I couldn't get to his safety belt. It was like stuck on this side. And all of a sudden, this little hand comes in from the other window and says, "Machete, I got it, I got it." And pushed the button, and the seatbelt came up. So I said, "Grab my neck, use your superpowers." And the kid grabbed my neck. You know, and he does it, it's okay. And so I got him out. It was like, it would show you how vain people can be, right? Because I'm going to this kid and there's gas all over. My thought was, God, if this thing burns, I hope they have a good plastic surgeon. I want an open casket. You know what I mean? It's just like, I didn't know what to do. And we walked away because his grandma was bleeding. The fireman got him out, got her out, and I didn't want him to see it. And then after they cleaned her up, the fireman called me back. I went back. The cutest thing I ever saw was my grandma's arm was bleeding, and he kept going, superpowers, grandma, super. I said, they don't cry. It just blew my mind that he put me in the right place at the right time, and that I knew about special needs children.
Okay, a question right here.
Can you talk about your experience working on Runaway Train?
Wow. That was like 1985, and I was a drug counselor, and one of the kids I was working with had got me into do extra work, and you just go and just you stand there and can you act tough? Yeah, okay, and you just stand there and he called me one night and said, hey, there's a movie down here, blah, 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 and I think you got called for it, So I went down, and this kid I'd been working with, he was trying to get off cocaine, and in 1985, cocaine was rampant in the studio. I mean, they had it was in the stunt guy's tent in production, it was old, and so I went down, and the first guy I run into is a guy named Eddie Bunker, a guy that I was in the penitentiary with, right? And he says, Trejo, what are you doing here? I says, I'm hanging out with this kid. And he says, do you want to be an extra? I said, extra what? He says, can you act like a convict? And we both laughed because we've been doing it for free forever. He says, we need somebody to train one of the actors how to box. And extras got paid $50 cash. That was sweet. And I said, what's it pay? I'll never get it. It's $320 a day. I said, how bad you want this guy beat up? $320, I wasn't making that a week. And he goes, no, you gotta be real careful because this actor's really high strung. He might sock you. I'll never say, Eddie, for $320, give him a stick. Are you crazy? I didn't beat up for free, homie. And how many days you want me to beat him up? I didn't understand that. And he says, I started training a guy named Eric Roberts how to box for a movie called Runaway Train. And the director saw that Eric respected me, and he liked my tattoos, and he knew I'd been in the penitentiary. And it was just kind of weird. He'd do whatever I told him to do. And the director, Andrei Kochalowski, saw that. I'll never forget, because he came up and he goes, you be in movie. He's a Russian aristocrat, I'm righteous. First American movie, and he was a Russian aristocrat. You be in movie. You fight Eric in movie. And you be my friend. Now, if you come from a penitentiary background, you get a little suspicious when somebody says, you be my friend. Oh, does that mean shower to get what that means? And then the beat move, he leans over, he kisses me on one cheek, kisses me on the other cheek, and walks away. I said, Eddie, look, I'm gonna train the kid for $320, but if I'm gonna be kissing that old man, I want more money. That guy gave me a SAG card. When I found out what he did, hey, I'll kiss him right in the mouth. I couldn't believe it. But since that day, I made over, 350 some movies. And I got on a roll. And at first, I was, like the first 5 years of my career, I think I was inmate number 1, bad guy with tattoos, Mexican dude. Never had a name. The first name I had was Severe in a Oscar-winning movie called Penitentiary 3. It was like, if the first movie I did was Runaway Train, that got nominated for 3 Oscars, right? Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Actor, John Boy. Didn't win, but it got nominated. And anybody that says getting nominated is just as good as winning, ask Eric Roberts. You know? But, and that's it. Now it's like I just started. The first movie that I ever had a name was Severe. The second one was one called Death Wish 4 with Charles Bronson. And I got to meet him, and that was just so cool. And then from then on, it was just my career grew. And I didn't really even think I was an actor till I did a movie called Heat. And then I thought, wow, I must be pretty good. I got to work with the big guys.
Who else had a question? Right here.
That was awesome. That was, you know, first thing, when we got on Heat, first thing, the AD, second AD, look, don't be asking for autographs. He told the whole crew, right? First thing I did when I saw De Niro, hey, Bob! Give me an autograph. and Al Pacino was like, they were like sweet guys. And Val Kilmer, me and Val got to be really close. He was good people. And you know, like John Boyd, I'd done Runaway Train with, so we were like that. And people don't realize that John Boyd went into the makeup trailer. He stuck a picture of Eddie Bunker and said, I want to look like that. And if you ever see a guy named Eddie Bunker, he passed away, but if you ever read one of his books, and if you ever want to read a good criminal novel, there's one called Education of a Felon. It's got our whole crew. I mean, a bunch of guys that we knew in it, and you know, all guys who got in from the penitentiary. And if you want to read a real good book, read Trejo.
For those that don't know, Danny has a new book out. It's called Trejo, My Life of Crime, Redemption in Hollywood. I got it the other day, started reading it, and it's awesome. All the things that, you know, Danny's saying in the Q&A, he goes into like really in depth with the book, and it's really, really worth picking up. You can get it at Amazon.
It was a guy named Donald Logue, who was one of my best friends, and just a good dude. I first met Donald in like 1991 in a place called Hollywood Drug and Alcohol Center. Well, yeah, Hollywood Drug, and it was a midnight meeting. And I walked up there and I said, hey, what's up? What do you mean, what's up? He's like, the most angriest person I've ever met. Now I met penitentiary angry, okay? I met killer angry. And here's a kid, red hair, what are you wearing? So I said, whoa, you got a long way to go home. Somebody's gonna kill you, I'm not, but somebody. And the next time I met him, was in the basement of a meeting in Prince George, Canada, on a film. And if you think God don't work in people's lives, a guy named Vin Diesel, some of you might know him, and he was on this movie called Reindeer Games that we were doing. He was cast, he was doing a producer a favor. And people get real trouble when they're doing a favor. So he's doing this favor for this producer, and he's got this role that was not for Vin Diesel. He was supposed to be kind of like a goofy kind of, you know, guy. And Vin Diesel can't do that. He can't. Great actor in his genre. Great, all right? But this guy, and this guy loved him, but this guy is not supposed to be that guy. And he was like torn, and he's got another film going, which was quite a big deal. But got this, and I said, what's wrong with you? And he kind of said, man, I got this other film, and I'm doing this favor for this producer. I don't know what to do. I said, well, whatever you do, you better do it before you get on camera. Because once you get on camera, you're stuck. Then you get a bad rep for not showing up. But you got nothing to lose right now. So if you're gonna do it, do it. So the next morning when we went to pick him up, I called him. We're in Canada. He said, you know what, Danny, you know what, I already told him I'm leaving. I was good, go ahead, go. Who do they call up? Donald Logue shows up. And I looked at him and I said, oh, hey, life's kind of tamed you down a little, hasn't it? He goes, yeah. I'm just going through some stuff. We just hung out and became best friends. And that's the guy that ended up helping me write my book. So that's the way things work.
Oh yeah, Danny, big fan. What's your favorite Dustin Dawn movie? From Dustin Dawn.
From Dustin. Selma Hayek. That's all.
On the end.
How did you get involved in the Machete trailer for the Grindhouse movie?
Well, you know what?
It's gonna be a big
Robert Rodriguez and I, we discussed Machete when we were doing Desperado. We were in Acuña, Mexico, which is like a little town right across the border, and nobody knew who Antonio Banderas was. You know, it was like his first kind of movie, and he kind of stood to himself. And me, I walk around with no shirt in the middle of town, and I loved it when people say, don't go there, that's a bad place. That's where we end up, you know? The bad place. And so we're in the bad place, and all these people are kind of around asking for autographs and taking pictures. And I'll never forget, Antonio was standing right there. Robert comes up and says, hey, these people think you're the star of the movie. You mean I'm not? And Antonio laughed. And so that's how it ended. Then he started talking about, hey, you know what, I got this character, Machete. He's from the people, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of like told me the story. And so I would always call him and say, hey, when are we gonna do Machete? So when we did Grindhouse, he said, you know what, Danny, let's do a trailer. Because, you know, the trailers, we'll put this trailer in there. And so we put the trailer from Machete in Grindhouse. And then when we came out of the premiere of Grindhouse, everybody was screaming about, when do we see Machete? And I said,
Right over here.
How many machetes do you own yourself?
you know what, I gotta tell you something. Somebody sends me a unique machete every week. My house is full of machetes. And I got one that was from one of the space shuttles.
There you go.
It's like some kind of titanium, and you can hammer nails with it. But it's all these different. I've run out of room. I got a motorcycle, and it's the rims are made, to look like machetes.
Right here.
I can't hear you. Yeah.
I want you to know how proud he is that working with you like good. It's not another question, it's not mentioned.
When I was Boots? Oh, okay, all right. It's really funny. Hollywood is so. For some people, you can be like best friends for 6 weeks, like, oh God, blood brothers, and blah, blah, blah. And then after that, you go your their separate ways. But there's only like 3 or 4 people that I'm really close to in Hollywood, or they'll invite me to parties and stuff. But there's only like 3 or 4 people that I just really break bread with. Donald Lowe's one of them. My son, when we were doing Machete, I did Heat. That's where I met Robert De Niro. Then he came and did Machete for me, and when Robert asked him, and that made the movie. And it's so hard to say you're the lead when Robert De Niro. I felt stupid. I swear to God, hey Dad, you're the lead, and you're full of shit. But Robert De Niro kept teasing me like, hey, number 1, you. Number 1. Can I get some coffee, Mr. De Niro?
Okay, the girl right here. Yep.
She wants to know how you like playing Vasquez, and then I want to add, how is voice acting for kids' cartoons like experience versus live?
You know what? To tell you the truth, voice acting is like so cool because you can show up in pajamas. Yeah, in fact, there used to be a
Machete pajamas.
Yeah, there used to be something really just beautiful little girl, Brittany Murphy, and we used to do King of the Hill together, and it was so funny. She was in fuzzy slippers and puffy pajamas show up, and it's like it's so I don't know, like you don't need makeup, and it's like a lot of fun, and I am doing like big city greens right now. I've got about 9 cartoons that I'm doing, and I try to like, okay, let me see what, but no, use your voice. So I said, but then everybody will know it's me. You want them
to. Let's see. Over back here with the mask on.
Yeah. Hi, Danny. How did you get the role of Raul the Ghoul in Fallout New Vegas? I said, how did you get the role for Raul the Ghoul in Fallout New Vegas?
How did you get the role of Raul in Vegas?
How did I get the role on
Of Raul.
Robert Wolf? Yeah, that's cool. Take me, you guys use the mic. I met her last
I'm sorry about that. I'm saying that how did you get the role of Raul from Fallout New Vegas?
Raul. When was I Raul? You know what, let me just take the way I get roles is my agent gets a letter and then calls me and says, do you want to do this? Because I don't even remember, I've been Raul 5 times. What movie was he talking about?
Video game.
Video game? Yeah. Oh God, they call you. I've done like numerous video games. In fact, right now I'm doing a Magic Gathering, and then I'm also doing Animal Crossing. Watch this, hold on. I am so cute. The first time I saw that, and they said, well, there's your character. I yelled out, boy, am I cute! Any other questions?
Right over here.
Jake was so cool. It was like we did Bubble Boy, right? His first movie, and he was like, what would happen to me if I went to the penitentiary? So I tried to grab him and kiss him. I said, I'll show you shit. And God, I scared him to death. He was so much. He was like such a great movie. His timing was awesome. And so we just like partied all the time. And then who was in that movie? The big, tall, handsome guy. Who was that guy? Flavio. Flavio. I was standing there, and he came up next to me, and hey, come on, don't talk. They're gonna confuse us. He thought that was funny. I wasn't kidding.
So, right here, the girl.
I read that you only take bad guy parts if you die in them to teach a lesson to children. What made you take the stand and then you don't die?
You know, the message for me is the bad guy either dies or goes to prison, you know, and so if they give me I've turned down a couple of roles that, like, you know, the drug dealer gets away and blah, 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 you know. And it's like hard for me to say, no, I can't do that, man, because that gives little kids in my neighborhood, oh yeah, see, he got away with it, you know. I was talking in school one time, in a school, and I said, you know, dope fiend, there's no such thing as a successful dope fiend. And this one kid goes, well, what about Chapo? I said, fool, Chapo's buried. Are you kidding me? They got to pump sunlight to him. Not success. You know, and so I that's the one thing I'll stay away from, is letting the bad guy win. Now, I'll be a good bad guy, or a bad good guy. Now, you know, it's just like the bad guy's gotta die, that's all. Unless there's a sequel coming.
Right here.
Danny, I want to say it's an honor. When the first film I've ever saw you perform in was Spy Kids when I was younger. My uncle passed away, and every time I saw you, I was like, and he's young. You know, that's something that Hispanics do, and he's young, he's young. And I want to know, like, how did you get, like, I know it's in Egypt, but did you enjoy being Uncle Machete from Spy Kids?
Well, you know what? When I walked into Robert Rodriguez's office he had an office in Venice, California, and I was living right down the street in Venice. And I walked into his office. He looked at me. He was casting for Desperado, and he said, "Damn, you remind me of the bad guys in my high school." And I said, "I am the bad guys in your high school." And we left. He handed me a knife. He was here. Like, okay. And I remember going back and telling my agent, "Oh, I guess I got it." He gave me a knife. And from there, we developed quite a friendship. When we were on Desperado, my family came down from San Antonio, Texas, to Acuña, Mexico, because that's where they buy booze. And everybody in the car can bring back 2 quarts of whiskey. Smuggling, I mean, I don't know. And my uncle Rudy came, and he goes, "Who's that?" I said, "That's Robert Rodriguez, the director." And I'll never forget my uncle goes, "Hey," to Robert. You don't do that to the director. But my uncle was older, and Robert, being a young Hispanic, knows that when old people get here, get over here. So he came over, and they started talking, and then all of a sudden my uncle turned around and said, "Hey, say hello to your cousin." And we found out that me and Robert were second cousins. So right then, I make my part bigger.
Okay, right here.
I loved Flash, and they called me, and I just loved it. There was that whole crew. You know, a lot of times when you come into a successful TV series, because TV's a lot different than movies. When you come into a successful TV series, it's like a close-knit family, and it's real hard for them to like accept you're the new guy, you know. And I think the Flash was like a really awesome experience. It's almost like, hey, you know, cool. And I felt like I'd known him all my life. I mean, just like it was just boom, all together. It was awesome. It was that way with I did American Gods or American. Yeah, there's some TV series, I forget it. Yeah, the same way.
Right over here. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Trejo. Yeah, question. I got two parts question. One is, ties in together. One is, when is Machete going to be joining the Expendables? And two, what was it like to work with Steven Seagal?
I worked with Steven a couple of times, but the only problem with Machete joining the Expendables is Machete is not expendable. I mentioned that to Stallone a couple times. And Steven Seagal, I worked with him in a movie called Marked for Death. And it was kind of when he was like way up at his sons. And then he did some bad deals, I guess, and all of a sudden, but when he called and said, "Hey, Danny, is there anything for me in Machete?" And I told Robert Rodriguez, Steven Seagal called me. So we worked with him and he said, "Let's kill him." I'm the only guy that killed Steven Seagal on screen. Machete rock!
We'll take a couple last questions. Somebody right here. She wants to know what it was like working with Rob Zombie.
Oh, God, I love Rob. And funny, I did Halloween. No, wait, I did Devil's Rejects first. I did Devil's Rejects. And then I was at a premiere or something. And Rob Zombie was over here being interviewed. I was over here. And somebody asked me, "Hey, Danny, are you going to be in Rob Zombie's Halloween?" And I said, "He's doing Halloween?" "Yeah, joking. I went, "Hey, Rob!" All the news said, "Hey, I'm in Halloween, I'll kill you." He goes, "Hey, you're in Halloween." And so we did that, and then we did Bleed for Hell, I think.
Bleed from Hell,
Yeah, that was cool, So, but he's beautiful. If you ever want to see a show, a real rock concert, go see one of Rob Zombie's rock concerts. God, he was playing, I forget, but I was there backstage, and the stage manager came out and said, "Okay, you guys, get ready. So rock and rollers, they're like fighters. They get they get all pumped up, right? And they're like ready. Count 5, 4, 3. The guy comes out and goes, "Oh, hey, wait, we gotta go for TV, hold on." And you can see the air go out, pissed off, right? All of a sudden, everybody on that stage, and Sherry, who is Rob's wife, goes, "Danny, come out there." And she pushed me, and all of a sudden, I'm in front of the stadium. I did not know, it's like, and I know Rob's breaking guitars back in the back, right? Machete rock! Everybody was nuts, and I said, "Hey, are you guys ready for some real rock and roll?" And I'm looking at Sherry. So, Rob, when they called him, Rob came on and said, "You're awesome."
Okay, in the back right here.
I want to know what your favorite part of being on The Masked Singer was.
You knew that was coming.
Wow, thing! God, God, that was so much fun. And that raccoon looks exactly like my dog. God, John Wesley Hardy. I got a little dog named John Wesley Hardy. He's got the same color that raccoon. Yeah, I'll do it. And then it was so much fun being in that kind of costume. Because the secret, nobody knows it's you. You know what I mean? Except for the audience. I mean, people that I knew were like saying, we knew it was you, you know. And then I walked into the market, and you're sworn to like secrecy and blood. Like, I will not divulge. And you wear a sweater that says, don't talk to me. And so I walk into a market, Vaughn's, because I like the rotisserie chicken. And so I'm looking at the chickens, and this lady goes, you're the raccoon! She's screaming, I'm the raccoon. And I go, no, I'm buying chicken. No, you're the raccoon.
Well, speaking of food, how's Trejo's Tacos going?
Hey, we got it. And we were blessed because we got to stay open during the whole pandemic deal. And I think it's because the good Lord let us stay open because we kept feeding the homeless and feeding hospitals. I got a couple of friends. We were at one hospital and 2 nurses were actually living in their cars. Because when they first started, nobody knew what was going on. They didn't want to go home because they got families, so they were living in their cars. So my 2 mates had to put some money together and got them a place to stay for a month. And then after that, everybody was okay to go home and stuff. But I just think that a lot of people really just step up. You know, we step up. You know, who cares about masks? I'll wear a mask up. God, but I just want to go into the bank with a mask. And say something like, hey!
Right here.
Oh, God, I don't know. My daughter, I think. My daughter's so funny. We were, because I was a single parent, we were doing from dusk to dawn. And so sometimes I'd have to take it to the set, you know, and my daughter came one time, just came out, the makeup trailer, she was like 5, 6, completely made up, beautiful, going all the way back to get me home. And I go, what happened? She goes, I am a star. She got all her makeup done, just in fun. And then another time, Val Kilmer, we were doing Heat, and we were on the studio. And you know, I got kids, so I'm like to stay with my kids. And Val goes, you kids look bored. And they really are. So what's he do? He goes, gets my kid, a 6-year-old daughter, and a 7-year-old son, and he gives them 2 golf carts. And that was, you're nuts. Hey, Dad, you're the most fun we've ever. They drove golf carts on.
He was awesome. We had him here before. It's terrible to see what he's going through right now.
Lately, but we never going to do a couple of things about cancer, because I beat cancer, so did he, and so we're coming out right now.
Yeah, the video on Netflix.
So that's going to be awesome.
Okay, all right, we'll take one last question. So
no, we won't. I had more. Don't stop.
Oh, okay. You tell me when you want to go. Okay, right here.
What was it like training with George St. Pierre? And you train on a normal, regular basis?
You know what, George St. Pierre, first of all, he's too pretty to be a fighter. You know, he's like a handsome guy, right? And, but God, he's really good. We were on the bag. They didn't film it, but we were just messing around. And I watched this guy kick, you know, bam! And it's like, when you hear that bag, you know, like just, boom, you know, like, wow. And he's a real deal. I think he's retired now. I'm not sure, you know, but I think he's retired.
Okay. Who else has a question? Over here.
The Heat, Val Kilmer. Oh my God, Robert De Niro. How do you feel about working on a film? What do you think about that film?
I think that was one of the biggest jumps in my credibility working with them. And Michael Mann says, God, you got a way of stealing a scene when you're not even stealing. Because I remember when we were talking about what do you want to do, and Tom Sizemore did a speech, and then Val Kilmer did a speech, and then Robert De Niro asked me, yeah, sure, I'm in. And so everybody was laughing, you know. And so I just had a blast when I was working, when I got ready to die, and I was talking to Bob. I love talking to Bob.
Yeah.
That scene was touching, by the way. That scene was touching.
Yeah, well, when we were getting ready for it, Robert De Niro asked me, what do you think, and how are we going to do this? And I said, I don't know, Bob, what do you think? I call him Bob. And he says, I think you're already dead. I think you only have enough air in you, enough breath to ask me to kill you. And you know, and he was like so dramatic. I said, for a split second, I went, nah, Bob, that's not the way I see it. I love that. And that's what we went with, was that, you know, and best dying scene yet. And I've died more than anybody on the street.
Danny, what was the turning point for you? Like, when did you stop being criminal number 2 or guard number 3? Like, what was, for you, what was the point where you knew that you were no longer going to be those type of roles and that you had jumped to that next level? How did that change your life?
I think when I worked with Charles Bronson in Death Wish 4, because Death Wish 4 at that time was Death Wish movie.
The whole Death Wish series.
They were like the big deal, man.
And Bronson was, you know, a major star at that time.
Awesome, man. And Bronson reminded me of my Uncle Gilbert. Just when he said something, you knew it was right, or he'll kill you. And when I worked with him, I just knew that, you know what, oh, this thing's really going to take off. And then after that, bang, blood in, blood out, boom, boom. They just kept going, you know.
And how did that change your life? Like, what did that?
I don't, you know what, I bought a house. But I tried not to change, other than I don't do robberies, you know. I just kind of like tried to say, this is what we have to do. My whole life is dedicated to helping people, homeless, sick, anything, just help them. And that's the way it's been since I got out of prison. That's why I'm still out, and that's what I'm still doing. So, in that respect, it's like everybody that I know that breaks bread with me, that I call a friend, has thermal underwear, socks, underwear, t-shirts in the trunk of their car. We hand it out to the homeless. You know, it's like, that's what you do. And so, I think in that respect, it's been the same. Financially, it's gotten better, and able to pay more child support, and, but I'm done with that, and my kids are all grown now. And so that's about, you know, I got a couple of things. I like old cars and stuff I like. So I got a hobby, and that's about it. Otherwise, I still live about 3 miles from where I grew up. You know, I didn't really. And why do you still live here? So I like it.
Okay. Any questions up right here?
What's the best advice you ever got from someone in the business?
A guy named Eddie Bunker once said, you know what, Danny, the whole world can think you're a movie star, but you can't. And I'll never forget that, because nobody likes movie stars. Honest to God. And especially, you know, You might, but you won't get close to them, you know what I mean? But people in the business just don't like movie stars. They'll talk to them, ooh, you're my best friend. When they walk away, I like to beat that guy to death. You know? And I want to leave every situation I walk into better. You know, whatever it is. You know, I don't want to be talked bad about. That's me.
Okay, right back there. What was your favorite role and your most difficult one?
You know, my son wrote a movie, and it was called From the Sun. And in it, I played his father, he's a drug addict. I'm a hard-working laborer. You know how, like, when you were young and you stayed out late and your mom said, I don't sleep till you come home, or, you know, and so in the middle of the night, he has me waking up, and I don't know, but he's dead. You know, he overdosed. So I go looking for him. So I go into his Dante's Inferno, not knowing, you know, whether he's alive or not. And I think in it, I had to actually cry. Cry in a movie. I've always tried not to cry in real life, but I in this movie, when I find out that he's really dead, I have to like cry. Well, I thought I was gonna do it like, you know, like John Wayne. Okay, Pilgrim. It's a rough one, but we'll get through it. But this little shit was showing me baby pictures. For about 2 days. Hey, Dad, remember this one? Yeah. And I didn't know what he was doing, right? But, you know, and then when it came time, and I asked the girl that had buried him, I asked her, we're in the desert, it's freezing cold, we're both cold, and we're carrying a shovel to dig him up. And I asked her, did you kill my son? And she screamed, no, I loved him. He was my only friend. And when she said that, she started crying. And I lost it. Oh my God, that little shit. But no, it wasn't like a man, it was like booger crying. Don't laugh! And I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. And then when we finally said cut, the whole crew was crying. And my son, goes, nice acting, Dad. You know what? If you ever show me another baby picture, I'll beat your ass. What?
Just say your eyes are sweating.
No, he wasn't. I had booger.
You had a question?
First, I just want to congratulate you on being cancer 50 years sober.
How many years I got sober? 50, I got 52 years clean and sober. August 23rd this month, I'll have 53 years. With booze and alcohol, honest to God, if you get rid of that, your whole life you got no idea where you're gonna be. Booze and alcohol took me all the way to the gas chamber. Since I got clean and sober, my life's a dream. Honest to God, and it's like that's all. What?
That was just the first part. I just want to congratulate you, but you kind of talked about it. I just wanted to ask, like, where your life was with addiction and president, what advice do you have for other people that are struggling, that have addictions, that are down a dark path? What advice do you give them?
You know what? The thing that I gotta say that if you're struggling with, especially with booze and alcohol, there's programs, there's 12-step programs, and I know you know what? The booze and the alcohol will actually, the booze and the drugs will tell us, you don't work. they don't work. You know they don't work. You know, the guys are full of shit. Oh God, you're gonna be beating a tambourine on the corner. Like, that's, you know, tell us all that shit. But the reality is, alcohol and drugs, when we abuse it, it's like, it's death. It's death. And I'm not talking about, I am not like a let's get rid of alcohol or whatever, but I just know that when I start having a problem with drugs or alcohol, then it's time for me to say, I gotta find some help. There's some 12-step programs that I love, and I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine's Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, I love them, you know what I mean? And now it's like most of the people that I work with and deal with don't use drugs or alcohol. And it's funny because I love to be on one of the movie sets, especially when everybody was doing coke. And I see them go into their trailer right now. Like, hey! You got coke? You see him come out and do is it good? Yeah. Send that scroll. Yes.
Right here.
If you could sum up your whole life in one word, what would it be?
God. I don't mean me, because I made a deal with him when I was in the hole in Soledad. I said, if you let me die with dignity, I will say your name every day, and I will do whatever I can for my fellow inmate. I said inmate, because I never thought I was getting out of prison. And by the grace of God, man, a year later, he let me out of that joint. And I ain't stopped doing whatever I can for my fellow man, and I say his name every day.
Yeah, can you speak up? Your mom has cancer, we didn't hear anything.
What did you tell your family when you were going through? Because I'm hard struggling with this.
What did you tell your family when you were going through?
You know what? It's like when I was going through, I couldn't, my family was the only one that I could tell because I had about 5 contracts out that were already signed and stuff, and they find out you have cancer, they're gone. You know, and so that was my living. And so I couldn't tell anybody, and it's so funny, I always say, I had to suffer silently, but my secretaries out here just go, bullshit! You yelled at us every damn. You know, I mean, so the people that I was close to, they took the brunt of what I was going through. You know, I got to admit that. But to the public or whatever, I remember one time a director said, cut! And that day I did that chemo. I was like throwing them, waiting to go back to, so it's tough, but you know what? All it takes is an attitude of gratitude. Because I started feeling sorry for myself, man. And God, look at that, man, I've taken care of your children. I've done good. I've said your name every day. What's up with this? Man, and I was like, I think I was 70 there. And I walked out into the living room, and what's on TV? That little kid with cancer talking about, and if you donate, we'll send you this beautiful blanket. And you're like 9-year-old and got cancer. You know, so it's, damn, all right, I got it. You know, I lived a good life. And so my attitude, and it's just about an attitude. And it's about, you know what, I can beat this sucker. And I just thank God that the people around me were loving and caring.
Let's make them good. Who's got a question? Right over there.
It's kind of more of a statement, but I just want to say, like, how does it feel to know that there's so many people in this room? I know I don't just speak for myself. When I say that, when I hear the name Danny Trejo, I'm always like, wow,
Thank you.
Okay, right there.
I also had a question. I got to meet Lisa Electra before the show was released. Any memories of this Electra on set?
Love them. I love them. God, they were so much fun. They had the greatest sense of humor, and they were actually Robert's wife's nieces. Elizabeth, his first wife. They were her nieces, and they were from Venezuela. They had the greatest. What do you call it? Sense of humor. All we did was laugh. That's it. And we laughed at, stared at Michelle Rodriguez. And she's awesome. Michelle Rodriguez can hold her own with anybody.
So, and just wanted to remind everybody, we had mentioned before, Danny has a new book out called Trejo, My Life of Crime, Redemption in Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause for Danny Trejo. Next up, we're going to be converting the stage for the costume contest, so please hang in.